Welcome, everyone. You are, we're so appreciate you tuning in to another episode of Real Talk with Just for Girlfriends. And you are in for a treat today. We have the CEO of blackdoctor.org in a rare and exclusive interview that's coming later. But before we get into it, we'd like to introduce ourselves to our new followers. I am Michelle Skinner. I am on the board of Just for Girlfriends and have been for quite some time now. And I also run Just for Girlfriends social media spaces. So you'll see the website scrolling along the bottom of the screen. If you go to our website, you'll find all our social media handles, but we're also Just for Girlfriends, as you see it written there on all platforms. Please come over, join us for more of these types of conversations. And Robin, please introduce yourself.
Yes, I am Robin McFarland. I am also a board member of Just for Girlfriends. I like to think I bring all the good ideas their way.
We thank you
Of
so much.
course.
Right. I have lots of ideas and thoughts, right, that we do as a board. So glad to be here today. And I'm going to be talking about what's on my mind today. So I'm really excited because I'm reading a new book I want to share. So
Awesome.
welcome, everybody.
Angelique, please.
Wonderful. Welcome, everybody. My name is Angelique David, and I'm the CEO and founder of Just for Girlfriends. For those that are new, Just for Girlfriends was was started on the premise that women are always so busy taking care of other people and doing things for other people that we don't stop and take time for ourselves. So what we at Just for Girlfriends do is we create a space for self-care, whether that's through engagements like this, getting information out, or through events. We're known for our signature events where you can just come and we say you take off all of your hats and you can just be yourself. It's a commercial break from life. We do events in the Chicagoland area. We do mini trips. We just got back from one where we all went to Uncle Nearest in near Nashville. And then we have a big signature trip. We're going to Santa Fe, New Mexico this year for the International Balloon Fest. So checking off some of those bucket list items. So it really is. We have members across the country and we love for you to join us. So if you go to that website, you can join us there.
Yes, and I mean, if you have not been to a Just for Girlfriends event, you are missing out. I am not telling any lies. So go to our website and read all about this. So, as Robin mentioned, we're going to start our show like we always do. We're going to be talking about what's on our mind. So, Robin, please tell us what's on your mind.
So a couple things on my mind. First is, how do I get a summer body, right? I think this comes up every year.
About the same time every year.
I've been working on this summer body all year. It's not quite ready yet. So you're going to get what you get.
Right.
I think they call it like teddy bear. I'm like teddy bear summer body.
Right.
So ready for that. So in preparation of that, right, we all talk about women issues, women of a certain age, all these things. So there's a book that came to me called Outlive. I don't know if anybody's heard of it. It is the premise. So you'll see me look down. I got some notes here. The premise is not just living longer, but adding years to your life, but the quality of years that you add to your life. So adding decades to your life by doing some small things. So there's a couple different areas. And I read audiobooks. Let me tell you this. Some of these books can be really long, medically driven. What I will also say about this book, it has a PDF attachment. I like to see charts and graphs and things that a lay person can understand because it is written by a doctor. And so that's been helpful for me. Also, I don't know if you guys do audiobooks, you can add notes as they are talking. So as they're talking, I click add a note, or you can tag a piece of it. And so that's been helpful for me as I am on this journey to try to get 30 minutes in every day and lift more weights because I need muscle mass and hormone replacement therapy, all these things that they say I need to do, right? So I've added another thing. So the key concepts are medicine. They're called the 4 horsemen of death. Have you guys heard of that before?
I have not, nor do I want to meet the 4 horsemen.
So that's the whole point. We don't want to meet them. It's heart disease, cancer, neurodegenerative disease like Alzheimer, and metabolic diseases like diabetes. So those are the four horsemen. Exercise. So I'm focusing on 2 areas, and these are the next 2: exercise and nutrition. And what they say about exercise, and this is why I'm trying to get up. I went and walked 3 miles today. I think I'll lift some weights later, but it's exercise is the most powerful longevity drug. And it's strength, stability, and aerobic. So just something that stood out to me. They were like, do what you want to do today for what you want to do when you're 80 and 90. So you want to do, if you want to be able to carry groceries, you need to do exercise that carry groceries. If you want to be able to walk upstairs, you need to do the Stairmaster. If you want to be able to get on and off the floor, you need to be practicing that right now. So they were like, be very practical. They were saying, have a strategy for your life in your 20s. Now, what was this book in my 20s? I don't know.
We were busy being 20.
Right. I guess so, right?
Right.
So and then so that was exercise. So I was like, okay, I'm doing that, but I'm not as intentional, right? I'm just going to classes, doing fun stuff. So they would say being more intentional. The other thing is, right, I get my annual things. I did do a different blood panel this year, but they were like, start diving into the nutrition isn't one size fits all. I think we knew that, but they were also talking about going to get specific tests. Go get a broader panel of blood panel for yourself and speak to a nutritionist and really think about what's individually for you. And so it made me think about, my son was working with these concierge doctors, and they were doing some different things. Yes, insurance does cover that. Sometimes it does have a different fee, but it was more customizable. So it wasn't the BMI chart that everybody gets. They would say, hey, this is what I've heard about you. This is for the ethnicity, for women of a certain age. Here's some things that you think you need to do. Here's what you need to do for your blood type. So I was like, all right. So I've been putting that piece off because I heard it's long, it's strenuous. Sometimes you hear things that you really don't want to hear. Yeah. That sort of thing. So, and they were like, if you do little things, like a little bit of exercise, a little bit of sleep, you can add years and years to your life.
Wow.
So, right. So I'm only in chapter 4. I got many more chapters to go, but I was just thinking about my kids, thinking about how long I had to recover. Now, I had a great time in Tennessee, no doubt. We'll leave that at that.
Yes.
But I took the day off. I needed an extra day to recover because I knew I would. Right. But they were like, you just need to start, just like I put a strategy in work for the year, for the next 3 to 5 years for my role. They were like, that's what you need to do for your life right now. And if you didn't do it in your 20s and 30s, you need to do it right now and be very intentional about it. Also, what other things stood out, 20% of your longevity is based on your genealogy. The other 80% can be adjusted. So you make small adjustments. They were like, don't discount those small incremental adjustments. Yep. Just do it. Do those little things. So it was inspiring, but it was also the reality that I'm getting older and starting to be really serious about those things, think about those things. My daughter has told me, Mom, you know, at the very least, you should be taking care of yourself, right? And I was like, why are you having this discussion with me, 27-year-old? Right. She was like, I see things, I see people are getting older, people in the family have passed away, those types of things. She was like, at the very least, Mom, you need to be taking care of yourself and you need to be doing these sorts of things as she learns new things. So we're having those discussions around the house. This is a book that the family is reading. So in preparation for that summer body, which is coming. Now it's going to get what it's going to get. It's going to get what it's going to get.
Maybe in the fall, but it's going to come, right?
It'll be out in the summer, but it's going to be what it is, right?
Like so what's the name of this book again?
It's called Outlive.
Outlive.
And it's interesting, the background of the author. He was a surgeon of some sort. I can't remember what, but he actually pulled away from practicing medicine to do more research and consulting because he thought things had become more commercialized by number. You had to do this and that. Some of those life-saving methods just in the way that the hospitals operate and that sort of thing, he decided to step away and do more research on the longevity, as they had a short longevity in his family. So it is interesting, a different way. Now, last year I was like, I'm just going to take some classes. We're going to work it out and I'm going to eat salads, right? I guess this year I'm in a little bit of a different mindset as I grow a little bit older and think about how many more, how many more decades do I have to travel? In Dion Cole's way, how many more summers do I have out in these streets, right? Like those types of things.
Right.
But it was really interesting and just kind of eye-opening. He was like, "Are you being strategic?" And I was like, "Well, I think I am, but but I do like a burger." And
well,
and
as they say, everything in moderation.
I was going to say, who's going to live without?
Yeah, I was going to say everything in moderation. But you do bring up one point, and I want to make sure we do have time to get to our special guest here, because
Yes.
this is definitely a treat. But one point that I think is really important is to find a doctor that will listen to you, and find a doctor that looks at you individually, because you talked about the panels and things like that. And often you go to doctors who have a very, very short time span to be able to be with you. So find a doctor that you trust, that understands whether you have a different ethnicity, what are your specific needs, because those doctors are more apt to really tell you those things that are more individualized.
Yes.
So if you got to change doctors, that's okay.
You change doctors if you need to. So it was so it's good. So I got more chapters to go if I have something else by next month.
Well,
I
yeah,
will pick it up, but it is
keep sharing with us.
interesting, and it's got pie charts and graphs, which I kind of like. So it's interesting. So that's where we are from my summer body. I'm listening to this book, which is right, means I'm getting a little older.
Right.
Thank
We
you.
appreciate you sharing, because I had not heard that. So please keep us in the loop.
I
as you learn
will.
new things.
I will.
So now we are at the point in our show that I'm sure you have all been waiting for. We have an exclusive interview with Reggie Ware, the CEO of blackdoctor.org. Come on out, Reggie. Let's get this conversation started.
Hey, good afternoon, everyone.
Good
Good
afternoon.
afternoon.
We are
Thank
so
you for
happy
joining
you're
us.
joining us. Yes,
Yes.
yes.
My pleasure.
So, as we've been talking about this show, we've stressed the importance of building wealth, and particularly wealth in African American, or our Black and Brown communities, we should say. And Reggie, he's here to share with us a way, he's put a lot of thought into this, a way that we can all gain more wealth. And specifically, he's trying to help 1,000 people become millionaires within 12 months. You may say that sounds crazy, but after you hear this conversation, you'll be like, wow, yes, we can do this. So, Reggie, take it away. Please introduce
All
us.
right, good deal. Hey, first of all, on our platform, we have a number of experts that we allow to that we like to introduce to the people, and then there are a certain level of experts, a certain caliber of experts that we say, look, you guys are so good, you can come on whenever you want, do whatever you want, because we are so thrilled and honored that you are sharing your expertise and points of view with America. And so just for girlfriends, yeah, you guys are one of those.
Oh, wow.
Thank you.
It's amazing.
We are blessed to be here.
Yeah, we so appreciate
Absolutely.
that. Thank you. We definitely love what we do.
Good. All right. So I'll talk about wealth building, but let me start by saying that this is really reparations that I'm going to talk about. How we get reparations right now. And everything we've learned has been fake news. Everything we've been told about us as Black people, how we think, everything's been fake news. I mean, even the DEI thing, right? Okay, we're taking away DEI. Okay, it's not really impacting Black people. It's crushing white women, and which was probably 98% of all DEI, and white men, because under emerging markets, white men was allowed diversity. I mean, so we weren't really benefiting from that, but in our minds, we were getting all this stuff, and so we were comfortable with where we were. And what's happened is, now that things have been taken away and are still being taken away, now people are energized to do something. And that's a beautiful thing for us because, history has shown, and we're not really taught this, but history has shown once we get up and do things, great things happen. That's why you have Black Wall Street, Rosewood. We had so many thriving communities that were doing great, amazing.
Yeah.
And then they got destroyed because of people thinking, okay, well, I just can't. We don't want these people to excel too much. They weren't doing anything against anybody, but we were self-contained and we were focused. And what that history shows us that when we're on one accord, we are amazing. So let's talk about reparations and wealth building. So here's the deal. The reason we haven't gotten reparations before is because what? We've been waiting for the government to give it to us, right? We've been waiting and waiting. Mm-hmm. The Jews got reparations for the Holocaust. And, we've been waiting. And we're still waiting. But we've been looking at it wrong. It's not that the government has to give us anything. It's free enterprise. So we have to get it. So how do we get it? Well, think about this. Okay, we've got 1.7 trillion in spending power as Black folks here in the United States. 1.7 trillion. So Elon Musk is the richest person in the world. I think his net worth is now down to 300 million. We've got 1.7 trillion spending power. Power is the word there, right? So here's the thing. All right. So we've been boycotting Target, right? And basically what I'm going to tell you how every Black person can be a millionaire. And I know we've been ingrained. It can't happen. We can't win. Okay. Let's put all that stuff to the side and let's have a real conversation.
We're going to have an open mind, right?
We got to have an open mind, right? So, and because I'm an entrepreneur, I always have an open mind on everything. So,
right.
Because you're just trained that way. Okay, so here's the deal. We're boycotting Target, right? And everybody got the word, don't go to Target. And collectively, we boycotted Target. Well, Target stock was at $172. Now it's down to $94, $95. Your stock is cut almost in half, right? Okay, and when we read the news, they talk about all the things that's driving stock down, and then they say, hey, and then, and also, Black people aren't participating there. But the article could read, because Black people aren't going to Target, their stock is dropping. But here's my point. We boycott things, and then we boycott for a while, and then after a few months, we say, we told you, look, you suffered. Okay. No more I told you so. That's ridiculous. Okay. Target CEO says, hey, I don't want any Black people in my stores. You guys aren't important. Whatever. Okay, fine, Mr. CEO of Target. We don't shop there. But here's the thing. We don't shop. It's not that we boycott for a while and say, I told you so. We quit shopping there. And, every public company, most people don't know this, but every public company has to do quarterly reports. And when they miss their earnings target on those quarterly reports, the stock drops. And it keeps dropping. Okay, so here's the thing. We don't shop to Target. It ain't, and the finish line is not when all of a sudden they have somebody come in, some Black leader.
Go visit Al Sharpton.
We can go shop. No. That's not the finish line. Here's the finish line. We stop shopping at Target until the stock drops to $10 a share. $10 a share. And then we all buy the stock.
Right.
$10 a share. And then what we do what Black folks do all the time. Shop. Because now we got ownership in Target.
Yeah,
and we get that stock up to 100, and then we sell. We control the markets, guys. We never really thought about that. We control. There's so many companies here that exist because Black consumers allow them to exist. And let me tell you what that looks like financially. That stock drops down to $10,000, $10 a share. You got $10,000. You're buying 100. You're buying 1,000 shares. When it goes up to 100, that $10,000 turns into 100,000. Yeah, there's only two ways you get rich: equity, which is stocks, and real estate. We got to be doing one of the two. We can do the stock market and we can control it. There's not a leader dictating when we do stuff. It's just lifestyle. There's not a leader with a bullseye on his back saying this is what you do. No, we're doing it anyway. The toughest part is to boycott. So think about this. You go from 10, you take 10, you sell it, and now you got 100,000, and then we do it again. Walmart. Walmart. We're not. You don't want us in your stores? Okay, no problem. stop there. I don't care if it takes a year and a half. Drive that stock down, because now you got 100,000 to play with. You get that down to $10 a share. You put 100,000 there. When it goes up to 100 and sell, now you got $1 million. Now you've got $1 million, guys. This is basic, fundamental arithmetic. We all can do it. We all can do it.
We all can do it. I'm down.
And then, so now you got $1 million. So here's the thing. And then we do it again. We can pick companies. We can do brands. I mean, it's in our wheelhouse to do whatever we want. So as people proudly say they don't want Black consumers, hey, great, no problem. But once you get $1 million and you do it again, you drive that stock down, you put $1 million in. You only have to wait till it gets you don't have to wait till it get to 100. You get it at 50, because then that's $5 million. Once you get $4 or $5 million, then hey, life is wonderful at that point, because you can live. You only have to touch the principal. You can live on the interest and so forth, right? Yeah. And so and then I'll just say another side point is that we've been told so much bad and false information, like Africa, for example. Oh, it's rough over there. It's a jungle. Africa is so modern and chic and beautiful. The weather's nice. $40,000 US. You live like you have $1 million over here. 40,000 US. Yep. Eventually, guys, we have to realize, okay, so you don't want us here. We're going through all this stuff, banging our heads against the wall. Eventually, it's got to be a mass migration back to the motherland and just live and just be comfortable, because all of our industries transfer well. Think about the NBA. We can have like we had the Negro Leagues here. Man, we can do the same thing over in Africa. There's nothing we can't do. Imagine the billionaires that would be created if we owned our own NFL franchises. And we guarantee the contracts. These people got to go through. They don't guarantee the contracts. They can cut them at any time. Hey, you're going to get a guaranteed contract, blah, blah, blah. But there's just so much more that we can do. But let me get back to the reparations piece. All right. That's how people have been getting wealthy for years. This isn't something that we got to do. It's never been done before. People do it every day. That's how people get wealthy. And so what we've got to do, the toughest part we're already doing, which is boycotting and driving down the revenue. What we've got to do, though, is there's not going to be anybody that they can talk to where they can cut that individual check, and all of a sudden everybody else got to suffer. It's okay, now everybody go shop at Target. Well, why would we go shop at Target? You're the only one got the check. Everybody else is still suffering. No, we've been screwed up with the finish line. The finish line is no more some organization gets a check. Yeah. The finish line is when Pookie and Doodoo Bug $4 million in the bank. That's the finish line. No more tripping on this stuff, guys. This is totally within our wheelhouse.
Yeah, Reggie, a version of this just happened with the tariff conversation. So Trump released tariff, and the stocks went down. And those who had money to invest when it was lower,
he was bragging about that.
He did because
he made 10 million.
He made 10 million because within a day he said, okay, we're pausing them for 90 days. And those who had invested lower, now it didn't go down to the levels you're talking about where your average everyday person could invest serious money, but those that could, they made millions within days.
That's
so we see that happen.
Right.
Yeah,
he was such a jerk for that.
It happens every day. We're not saying to do something that's never happened before. We're built for it. We've got a history of doing it. That's why people wonder. They say, "Well, wait a minute. Why is he taking things out of the Smithsonian African American History Museum? Why is he doing that?" Because it's dangerous. Well, people that are threatened by Black success, and it really shouldn't be, because we've never had there's never been a group or entity that's ever tried to do any racial harm to whites.
Never.
Ever.
Right.
But yet we're constantly being abused, right? And feel threatened. It's as if we've done something, but we haven't. We're just trying to survive, right? And so what we've got to do then is, but the reason they want to take away that history, because when you see something that you've done that's great, you're inspired.
Yeah.
You're inspired. It goes all the way back to, like Africa, right? Okay. Africa, they changed the name. Africa originally wasn't called Africa; it was called something else, which went to Mother of Mankind, and just our history has just been changed and changed and changed, right? So, anyway, the net is what I like is that this is doable, and so what we have to do is really understand what the finish line is. Everybody can be wealthy, and granted, we got to program our thinking because we can't think everybody rich. Everybody be rich. It's just
Right. It's
it's a,
unfathomable to some people. Right.
that's right. That's right. But the reality is, it can happen. That's why we get so much pressure on people. Oh, we take this from. Everybody else sees it, but us.
Yeah, they're
We're
threatened.
the only ones that don't see it.
Right.
Yes. No. That's the finish line. And so, and the funny thing is, I know the Target was meeting with some one of
Reverend Al
people,
Sharpton. Yeah, they met
and
with
he
the
said,
Reverend.
"Hey, right," and he said, "There's 4 things that we want," and Target only agreed to 1. And the one thing that they agreed on was to spend $2 billion with black businesses, right?
2 million or billion?
$2 billion.
Wow.
Okay. Now, but check this out. So the stuff they didn't agree with, it was something like, okay, spend 125 million with 6 black HBCUs. They didn't want to do that, and they didn't want to do the other 2 things. But here's my point: the reason they agreed to do the $2 billion spend is because guess what? We never know if they did it or not. The stuff that they could track, okay, give 125 million to 6 HBCUs. That we could measure.
Right. Yeah.
So it's fool's gold when they give us these empty promises, right? I mean, P&G, General Motors, they were saying, we're spending all this money with black-owned media. Okay, well, I'm black-owned media. Most of black-owned media are my friends, right? Nobody got anything. I'm like, you get anything? Nope, me either. I mean, you're spending $400 million in black. It just never happened, right? We're all required to. So here's my point, guys. The stock price is a public number. We know when it goes to 10. That's the finish line. Only one finish lines that I can see, verified, right? And when we shop, every company, when we support these businesses, they thrive. So we'd be surprised how many businesses that exist solely because of our support. So that's one thing. The other thing is, I think it's important is that as we get this money, okay, so when you get the money, what you gonna do with it, right? Because they say that if you were to redistribute all the wealth on the planet and everybody had equal amount of money, in a very short time, the same people that had all the wealth is going to get it right back, right? And so we've got to reprogram our thinking in terms of how we spend money and so forth, right? But when we get this money, what we should do is revitalize the black communities. The black communities in every city should be meccas of black excellence. Don't really take that long to do. It's not really that hard. The corner liquor store, I mean, that store makes around $350,000 a year.
Yeah. And it's owned by non-blacks most times.
That's right. That's right. So what we do is we've got to do we got to be like Chinatown. Every city, Chinatown, the Chinese own those businesses and they support those businesses. And it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
We got to do the same thing. There shouldn't be any businesses in the black community that we don't own. I mean, if it's a McDonald's, okay, we need that owner should be a black franchisee.
Yeah.
And if not, guess what? We just don't shop there, right? Then they got to either sell it for pennies on it. They have to sell it for pennies on the dollar, or we create our own version of McDonald's. I mean, how hard would it be to recreate McDonald's?
And if we support it, yeah.
I mean, we are in total control. And that's the one thing we haven't looked at. We've all, I need the government to give me some, And so, and so I've been thinking about it for years. I'm not taking credit for the concept, just basic common sense, right? It's not me being a brilliant guy. Basic common sense. Yeah. Give me a number that I can see and verify. Okay, stock goes down to $10 a share. Oh, okay, I can see that and verify that. If I buy that stock, it goes back up to just half of what it was, $100 a share. I know the $10,000 is going to give me $100,000. I know if I put $100,000 on that $10 a share piece, that's $1 million. And it's hard to make $1 million like that, right? Basically guaranteed money. It's guaranteed money because we know that the stock is going to go up once we start supporting the store and even buying the stock. The activity of buying the stock drives up the price too. It's just a surefire way for us to win. We just got to think different. We got to understand that everything we've been taught has just been, it's fake news. It's fake news.
People say nobody's going to listen. Nobody's going to work in concert. We've seen that. That's not true. I mean, we can pull together. Well, the bus boycott, we pulled together that and changed that. So
and that took 9 months. Yeah, that was 9 months.
Yeah. And I think that, to your point, Michelle, it's all about working in concert to move things, move the needle, is working together.
Absolutely. So I would love to get this message out to all of those influencers that have those large audiences. The more people that know about this, the faster, we can get it. But like I said, the boycott, that word got out quick. Everybody knew Target doesn't want us, and so we don't want them, And and I was one of those people that was in Target multiple times a week, and I really don't. Yeah.
Yes.
I was like, bye. And roll my eyes every time I drive by.
That was my spot. That was my spot. Yeah. And it's interesting. It was easy to do. I did not lose a thing from not doing it. Now I felt some attachment to it, but after 2 weeks tops, I could get that stuff elsewhere, and I was okay with it. Or some stuff I didn't even need. I was just in Target.
That's the thing. You go in there and buy stuff you really don't need. Yeah.
So you saved a little money. You helped me with your own wealth a little bit too.
I did. I like Target so much. I remember Angelique for my birthday gave me a Target gift card.
I did. It was your favorite store.
It was my favorite store, but it was, to your point, when you think about, and there's a purpose behind it, right? Sometimes we're just doing things without a purpose. There was a purpose behind it. There's other things going on in the world. We band together and we moved on, and we can continue to do that.
So we can definitely do this. And I love the idea of revitalizing our neighborhoods, supporting our schools. Yes. They said Trump is not going to fund HBCUs, and people are cowering from that. So what? We're going to gain this wealth. We support our own schools. We educate our own. Yeah, and I don't know. I like this idea of taking back our power. We live in fear so much. You know what I mean? Afraid to do this, afraid to say that. The people with money are afraid to say anything to support, the Black community, for fear that they'll take it all away. So we definitely have to get in the mindset is that we have the power. Like Reggie said, we have the power. Yeah. No one can take that from you. Right.
And I think a lot of people fear retaliation too. Retaliation from mainstream.
Right. So and they let them retaliate. What can they do? Yeah. Unless they say it's illegal for Black people to invest in the stock market. I mean, that's the only thing they could do.
But you know what? That's why it's just lifestyle. There isn't a leader dictate. There's an organization telling people what to do. We know what to do. We all knew the boycott Target, right? We'll know when to buy the stock. We'll know when to sell it. Just keep it just all lifestyle. And that way, we win. Hey, there's another topic I would love.
Wait, before you move on, Reggie, Tanisha, one of our viewing has a very good question.
Oh, okay.
It's like, this is great information, but what platform will we get our information from? Because Facebook could easily shut us down or have us move away. So that's a great idea. How will we get the information out?
Well, I would say that we have a mechanism that exists that is getting the information to everybody now, right? And because we all knew to boycott Target, we just used the same mechanisms that we have, right? Because you're right. If there was one mechanism that was teaching Black wealth, then of course that would be. I mean, it's culture, right? Whenever there's Black game, for some reason, people are really upset with that and really disturbed by that, right? Or if there's and so that's why it's got to be lifestyle. It's just got to be lifestyle. And then once we get our money, we vitalize our Black communities and we support those businesses and so forth. Yeah. So that's why. Hey, I want to tell you guys another quick thing that's been on my mind that I think I would love for you guys to address. Sure. You know how we always tell our kids, okay, I want you to earn it so you can appreciate it. I want you to do what I did to be successful, right? Okay.
Get it out the dirt. Yeah.
I don't believe in that.
No, right. I mean, that theory is not correct.
I don't believe in
No,
that.
that's right.
Yeah.
That's
We
right.
got to give our kids, we have to give everything we earn, we should give it to them and teach them how to be happy,
Yes.
Yes.
appreciative, respectful, and protect. Because what generation, I mean, think about it. When you look at the families that have been successful, first of all, you look at society, you look at everybody that's wealthy. Okay. Most of them have been given everything.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like Rockefeller. Okay, it ain't like every Rockefeller in every generation's been the bomb. They had one guy
Right.
over 100 years
One-
ago. And he
Over
was the
100
bomb,
years ago.
right?
And he was
Everybody else
amazing.
has been given,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
So we are so quick to tell our kids they got to no.
No.
Let's help them win. Let's
Yes.
give our wealth, help them win, teach them to appreciate, right?
Yeah.
And be happy. And
Yeah.
I think
That
that's
brings to mind, I don't know if you guys have been watching the Fresh Prince reboot on Peacock.
Mhm.
No.
Yeah.
You know, the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, he came to Bel Air and was with his rich relatives. Well, his father showed up, and you know, the son was trying, the Fresh Prince was trying to get a relationship with him, and the father just, he hurt his feelings so bad, talking about, I can't believe you taking these handouts. You aren't, anything. And because the son was like, oh my God, you're going to be so proud. I'm going to this college, some Ivy League college. And he just really he brought the boy to tears because he made him think that he was taking an easy way out. Nobody ever gave me nothing. I don't know why you come over here bragging about it. Broke my heart. Instead of being happy that his son can do so much more than he could. And, he was down and out. And I guess he wanted him to be down and out as well. But it really hurt the boy, the Fresh Prince, so badly that he was expecting his father to celebrate him. And instead, he made him feel bad. I was like, I hope this is the point that they're teaching, is that this is not the way to go.
No.
If
Yeah.
you get an opportunity, be happy for them. You know what I mean? It's not a handout. It's your legacy, right?
Yeah. And why would I want my kid to go through? I mean, it was tough. Some of the stuff was tough. Why would I? And we know better. We can do better. We're in better places. We have better resources. Why wouldn't I? Just out of love. Just out of love and responsibility, why wouldn't I give that over to my kids? Yes. Now the grateful part I get. Then you got to be sure to be teaching that piece, and for them not to just do anything and be ungrateful and be living any kind of way, right? But man, it was tough. Some things were really tough, and I was like, why would I? If I'm looking at my kid, man, why would I lay that burden on them? And
it's a cultural thing, right?
Right. It is. And why am I working so hard? Right. Why am I working so hard for them to have to work equally as hard? That's not the way. Right. We're here as a parent to make it better, to make it easier, to teach them. But I do have found with some other friends I have, it only seems to be, I've only heard it from our people, from Black folks.
That's what I'm saying. It's a cultural thing.
It is a cultural. It seems to be a cultural
when kids, when kids are privileged, they are mad when you use it. They tried to tear Bronny down. So I'm like, what is wrong with his father making sure he succeeds?
The Nepo baby, like the Nepo baby. There's so many Nepo babies.
Nepo babies.
Nepo babies. Like, we see Shador. We see, right? They are all Nepo babies. They're all Nepo babies. Look, I was hoping I was a Nepo baby. Like that didn't what I'm talking to my parents, but it is I don't get that either, but it is still out there. But I do feel like with the generation it is changing now. I know all my friends, and these are two of my best friends here. I know we don't feel that way, so I feel like it is changing, but it is definitely still out there, and it's sad. It's
unmasked. And I think part of it is that once we start, like you said, redistributing this wealth, people who have been able, or at least can now see a way to get this wealth. I don't think it will be so offensive to them for some reason that somebody is getting a supposed leg up. Because we all have resources.
And that's how others get ahead. I was just having this conversation with someone who was suggesting, and I said, shift your mindset, because what you're suggesting is that kids should get uncomfortable. You're saying that let them sit in suffrage versus how about you let them sit in lavish and work toward that goal? Either you're trying to get them to work out of something or work towards something, but it's a weird way. But if you shift your mindset just a little bit, you'll see that you can still give them everything and teach them, like you said, Reggie, how to be respectful, how to be good people, how to be good, happy. And they will constantly work to maintain that lifestyle
Mhm.
versus trying to suggest they sit and suffer to get the lifestyle. So you
Right.
can teach the same thing, but not in that work is
They
hard to
want
me. That's crazy.
everybody to start over. Right. Why are we all
And
still
that's not
so
how, like you said, the Rockefellers didn't start over. I can tell you, Elon Musk kids aren't working super hard to get to where he is.
right?
So,
Look, even the Smiths down the street who didn't have as much money, they're not doing that either, right? Like
right.
even the lesser of are doing it very
I love it.
differently. But yeah, I like that mindset change.
I
Yeah.
do.
Another thing for people to think about, especially as you start moving up in wealth, if you're the top 20%, top 10%, top 1%, think about what you're telling your child they have to do and the hurdles they have to hit to get to where you are or above you.
Yeah.
You're setting them up for a lot of
Absolutely.
mental stuff, because that's just you're kind of starting to be a unicorn when you get to the top 1%. And to tell them they've got to be the top 0.5%, that's a lot. And other people don't do that. They say we're at 1%. We're gonna make sure generations stay at 1%.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yep. And
Yeah.
we can do it. So
Yeah, we
people
can do
have
it.
questions, Reggie. Someone
Well,
said,
before we let me say
oh,
one thing. I'm gonna be the lawyer here because someone is asking for investment advice. And even Ivan, I'm sorry, we can't give investment advice. You have to go talk to a financial advisor. So we won't be able to answer that question. We don't want to get in trouble there. So I want to protect Reggie from that question. So go ahead and ask a different one.
thank you, Angelique. I appreciate you having my back because I'm like,
Thank you.
yeah, yeah. What we need to do right now. But I think that as we wrap up, let's summarize what it is again that we want people to do. What can they start doing today? Like what relationships do they have to make
Yeah.
so that we can be successful in this plan?
Yeah. Yeah. So I was thinking about that. I think the first thing, we should do is there needs to be a financial literacy tweak, or we got to fill that gap. So if you just find just basic stuff to read about how stocks work, right? I think that's going to increase the comfort level, because you're going to end up having a lot of money in stocks. And so typically to really do it, you have to know some stuff, right? And it's just basic buying and selling, but the more you know about it, the more comfortable you're going to be. That's number one. Number two, I say, hey, $10,000. A lot of people say, hey, well, I can't find $10,000. But here's what you need to do now. Okay. Quit thinking about what you can't get and put together a plan to get as much as you can. Because even if it's 5,000, right? 5,000 is going to turn to 50. 50 turns into 500,000, and then 500,000, can turn to 5 million, what have you.
For
So
sure. Right.
you're still in the game. So let's try to think positive about, how am I going to do it? We've got some time, because we're boycotting Target already. Let's just keep the boycott going, and let's see how far that stock is going to drop, right? So that's number one. Number two, let's get our ducks in a row for the people that don't have a lot of money but the other piece of it is the people that do have money. So Google says there are 2 million Black millionaires in the United States. So if Google says it's 2 million, it's probably 3 or 4. We never really get the right. It's hard for Google to give the right information. I mean, Google, they get, Google has challenges. You look at Google and you Google beautiful hair, right? It's all white women. If you Google unprofessional hair, it's all Black women. I mean, right. They have their issues when it goes across culture. But here's my point. There's 2 million Black millionaires, according to Google. We got to help our other family members to be able to participate, right? And if you can lend them a little bit of money and they actually do it, then I think it's going to be a really, really good thing. But I think we've got to help each other. We've always worked together throughout history. We're just told that we don't, but we always have.
Yeah.
We're brothers and sisters, right?
Right.
We're our family. So those are the things I'd say. Let's start saving our money. Let's understand what the finish line is. No matter what anybody says, stop. No. The stock
That's
price is going to
something.
dictate where
I
we're
like
going.
that.
You
And
know,
that's something you can verify on your own. You don't have to wait for anybody to tell you
that's right.
when to buy or sell, because we have our goalposts.
Yeah.
We're putting our line in the sand. You know, you've heard it here, what our goalposts are.
So when it comes to financial literacy, there is a book, and it's a kid's book, but not necessarily for kids because everybody can look at it. So Melody Hobson put out Priceless Facts About Money, and her reasoning for putting that book out was to start this conversation to get financial literacy into a broader audience hands, starting at a very, very low level. I heard her speak at the Chicago Economic Club, and it was amazing kind of hearing her journey and how she thinks about money and the reason behind this book. So it's written from a children's perspective to start this conversation very, very early, but she did it with the intention, knowing that as adults are reading to their children, those who might need to learn a little more will learn it at that point too. So Priceless Facts About Money by Melody Hobson is a great resource for financial literacy.
Thank you. I love that. Yeah, I absolutely love that. I mean, and what I like about this plan is, like you said, any and everyone can participate.
Yeah.
We can do this. I'm excited. We can do this. We can feel better. You know, everybody can feel better about their community. We can revitalize our own communities. We're not looking for any more handouts. We're not worried about these executive orders because you know what? We got a plan. Right. We got a plan. So
That's right.
You can write to your pen run out of ink, sir. We got a plan. Right. We do. I absolutely love it. And as you know, you probably have not seen Reggie in front of the camera. He does great things through blackdoctor.org, getting information out. So we are so happy that you chose to sit down with us and share this passion project of yours. And I'm 100% behind you. We have 2 million. You want to help 1,000 more, right? 1,000 more people.
I really want what I really want is there should be 10 million Black millionaires. But when you say big numbers like that, you scare everybody away. So, you know.
No, you pick.
But the reality is, guys, you know, we've got everything we need. It's right here in front.
Right.
So.
Right. We got everything we need. So you'll be hearing more about this plan. We're going to try to get this actual recording and this information in front of those with large audiences. Blackdoctor.org has a huge audience in and of itself, but there are other influencers that have millions and millions of followers. Yeah, we get Cardi B to tweet about it. I mean, we own
There you go. There you go.
Her 30 million followers, or Taylor Swift or something like that. I'm not Taylor. Excuse me.
You are right.
Yeah, exactly. We don't need you to tweet about this particular project.
Reggie, it has been an absolute treat to have you on, and thank you for choosing us to be the show that you would actually come to the front of the camera for. We know that this is truly exclusive and a treat to do this, so we appreciate you so very much.
Sure.
Absolutely.
Thank
you guys do
so
amazing
much.
work. Keep up the great work.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks now.
Enjoy the rest of your day. Okay.
Thanks, you too now.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So, Chris Brown, thank you, Shay. Yeah, you're right. There are people we can get with these huge audiences to get the word out. Absolutely. Yeah. And you said, how can we participate in this? I would encourage you to watch the replay. In short, 3 steps is learn more about the stock market, because this is what we're going to use to get our reparations now. We're going to take them. We're not waiting for anybody to give them to us. But we're not going to support companies that don't want us or don't appreciate us. And by not supporting, by not buying, it drives their stock price down. And when it gets to $10, $10 a share, we're all going to buy. And then we're going to support the business because now we own a part of it. We're going to drive the stock price up, and then we're going to sell if that's what you want. I mean, it's flexible. This is a plan that you can create for you. You may want to hold on to it a little longer, or you may want to sell and we move on to the next ungrateful conglomerate. And we're going to do the same thing. So the goal is to start with 10,000 and end up with $1 million in 12 months. That is our plan. And as we create more millionaires, we're going to pour some of that money back into our own communities. So every community should be a symbol of Black excellence, as Reggie told us. I'm wholeheartedly down for that. And this is definitely something I can get behind. I hope you can too. Share the word.
And I would give the caveat again that people should talk to their own financial advisors and make
Yeah.
sure that they are interested, because Michelle is not giving financial advice.
Oh, absolutely not. Yeah. I got to go get the children's book from Melly Hobbs and Son, you know. That's the first thing I'm gonna do. I'm gonna get that book. So you definitely
That's right. That's right.
You know, the basic concept is learning about how to invest in the stock market and how to participate.
Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely.
With the book.
Thank you, sis. Thank you. So before we go, we got to save lives like we always do. It is time for girl chat. And we had a young sister that she's 25. She's come to us for advice. And so those of you listening and my sisters here, I want you to help this young lady out. So there's a little bit of backstory I have to give you. She's 25 and she's dating a 29-year-old. They've been together about a year and a half. They actually hit it off quite well. Things are going great. They travel a lot. Each other's families get along well. And they have very complementary personalities. Over the last few months, things have gradually started to become more serious. He just bought a beautiful home in their hometown, and he wants her to move in. He's broaching the subject. How would you feel about moving in with me? And her lease is going to end shortly on the apartment that she's in. So the questions and the discussion is sort of timely in that respect. She says, the problem is I always thought that once I finished with grad school, I would take the opportunity to try living somewhere different, to travel and take in new experiences. She says, meeting my boyfriend was a happy accident. She's loved every second of their relationship, and she thinks they could eventually lead to marriage. I mean, they get along just that well. But she's worried if she stays in their hometown, she will regret never exploring the world and seeing what it's like to live outside of her state. The stress of the matter is compounded by the fact that jobs in her field are few and far between where she's currently living. I do want to get married and have kids someday, which is the same thing he wants, but she's at a loss for how to decide which path should she take. Should she end her relationship and take the risk of moving somewhere new? Because he said, I'm not going to be in a long distance relationship. He has no interest in that. Or, so should she end her relationship, move and explore the world as she had thought that she always would? Or should she stay with her boyfriend and start building a future right here? One that she knows is promising and that she wouldn't necessarily be unhappy with. What's your advice?
So has she had the discussion? Because I feel like there's a compromise in there somewhere.
Well, she did say this. He said, well, you can do that, but we won't be together because I don't want a long distance relationship. So basically, those are her choices. Stay with him and potentially be happy, or break up with him, explore the world, and maybe find happiness somewhere else. So
he did say no. So I missed that.
Yeah.
Well, a man that really, really loves you will follow you across this world. A man that really, really loves you is never going to ask you to stop your dreams so that he would figure out a way to make it work. Because this sounds like a man that can't. It's not that he's saying that I can live without you. Otherwise, a man that truly, truly loves you will say, I can't live without you. Let's figure out how to do this. There's no way I would lose you for this. So I would say, if a man can quickly tell you, if you want to do that, go ahead, but I'm not a part of it, then he answered the question for you.
Yeah.
I
miss that no, he can't. I miss that no in there. So yeah. Because I don't think if you stay there and you really have a desire in your heart to see the rest of the world or live somewhere else, it seems like that's going to be something that's going to nag you all the time if you forego that. if
Right.
you forego that. Because I'm thinking, I mean, it's possible. I've known married women to go abroad for months for different,
Mhm.
for charity, for school, for whatever. And it was a compromise between both of them, and they figured it out. So I think,
Right.
but if he's already said no,
Well, I
like
think
Angela said, he already said no.
his issue is that he's 29. He's doing quite well in his career. He just bought a beautiful new home. He has no interest in picking up and moving and gallivanting across the country. So, he's just at a different, he's 4 years older than her. He's at a different time in his life. But
Yeah.
I agree with Angelique. You don't want to live with regrets. You're going to end up just taking that out with him, even if it's not overtly,
Yeah.
you're not going to be happy in your relationship. And take it from me. I've done that before.
Okay.
I thought I was in love or whatever, got married really, really young. And he did follow me to my new place. And I wasn't, you change. I just wasn't as in love as I thought. And he was a great provider, great husband, did everything, didn't want for anything. But I just thought that he should find somebody that was passionate about him, and I didn't want to live the rest of my life just, liking somebody a whole bunch and making a life out of that. And so, but it was hard to do for us to go our separate ways, because it was kind of devastating we were both very, very young in our young lives. But I saw that, this would be something I would regret. And then I would probably end up, taking it out on the him and on the relationship later. So our advice, young lady, is to go with your gut, explore the world. And you very well may find out, as they say, the dating pool has pee in it. You may be coming back. Yeah.
Well, and the good thing is they talked about it. So they talked about it up front. And so there's not a guess in there. So she's not guessing what would have. He said no. They had the discussion.
Right.
You didn't get married and get into it and then have to go through that whole process or live in and be regretful. And so it is early on. Also, life does cycle back around.
Right. It just may not be their time,
right?
It
just might not be their time, right? But she really does have to. It sounds like he stood on his ground. She really just has to figure out what she wants to do, because it sounds like she's pondering, right? And sometimes in those small towns, depends on what generation your parents are in, all that kind of stuff. That could be a lot of pressure to do what is comfortable for everybody else. But not for her. So she really needs to consider all.
And I think he can provide a very comfortable life. So she's like, wow, but I'm telling you, I've been there, and
she's young.
It's good for a couple of years. Yeah, it's real good for a couple of years, but then you will start having regrets. And you want to do that. Now this is your season. You know what I mean? And if it is meant to be, like Angelique,
it will be.
If you can't live without you, or if you want to come back,
he'll come running wherever you are.
He'll put that house on the market, right?
I can tell you, if I told my husband right now if I wanted to go to the moon, he would say, "Well, we packing up and going to the moon."
That's right.
I don't have that. My husband would be like, "When you coming back?" Okay.
No, he wouldn't.
No, he wouldn't, because my husband would do the same. It would be fine, because I'd be like, "Oh, is it a girls' trip on the moon? What's on the moon? Is it safe to get on the moon? Where we
my husband would be packing up with the moon.
Moving to Chicago.
Well, also, I would say 25 is so young.
It is
young.
It is.
For you two that know my husband, after he found and bought all the moon gadgets, he would have all the moon gadgets.
Make it so comfortable, right?
Yes.
I was like, we don't need all of this.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. Yes, we do.
Okay. But we would be on the moon.
We come to visit, right, Robert? We come.
Yeah, I mean, because it's gonna be lavish up there. I'll be there.
It's gonna be lavish, right?
Lavish.
So we had some people chime in. Sylvia Thomas, she said, "Keep up the energy, Jackie." So basically, I'm out, and we're gonna see who calling who. Who missed who in a few months. That's hilarious. Carmela Wimberly, the divine universe may have helped her dodge a bullet. Absolutely, because I feel some controlling tendencies there. Yeah. He's trying to control her with his money and his status. Yeah. Absolutely. So yeah, let's match energies. You go find your dreams, your passion, and see.
Yeah.
Yeah, that may not be your Prince Charming. He may be in New York or Las Vegas, somewhere else, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Great question.
Yeah, absolutely. So thank you everybody for
Thank
tuning
you.
in. Please like this video, share it with your family and friends far and wide. Let's get the word out on how we're really going to build wealth in the Black and Brown communities here in the United States. And look us up on justforgirlfriends.com. Sign up for our newsletter. We'll keep you in the know. When you were asking, someone was asking, how do we know when we're going to do things? Sign up for our newsletter. We share information there with all of our followers and our supporters. So we'll be back next month, fourth Monday of every month, 3 p.m. Central. We'll see you
Thank
then.
you. See you next month.
Thank you.